come to me, come to me, oh, come to me. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. Oh, okay, that's it. That was one time through. So it's sort of call and response, but if you start getting it, you can come in on the first time too, if you like. So.
And we're going to do it 3 rounds so you can thoroughly get in that Hindi groove. Yeah. You know, that nice, deep, whatever it is that's going on over there.
Right. Let her settle in. Yeah. Okay.
3 minutes and counting.
3. 1, 2, 3.
Corazon.
Isn't that great? Let's give Sean a round of applause for that. It's kind of a fun way to start the service, but also for those who are streaming, it gives them a chance to kind of tune into something. So we welcome to all those people streaming. Welcome to everybody here. I'd like to say welcome home. We've created a little home environment here. I borrowed this from Diana Browning, and we just thought we'd create a spiritual home, a place that you feel comfortable with. It's getting to be those colder months when it's kind of rainy and cold, and you want to snuggle in, so we want to give you permission to snuggle in here on Sundays. Don't stay home. Come here and be present. But we also welcome all those people who are joining us streaming in. It's such a great day to be here. And our opening, our title today, as well as this opening song, is Om, about Om. And if you're not familiar with that term, that's the most ancient name for spirit, for the one that is all. And it's not even a name, it's a sound. So let's open with this chant about Om.
Om. Y'all can say Om. Oh God, that sounds good.
Let's do a full-on Om before we get started. This chant may be unfamiliar to some of you. Some of you just practiced it with us, but know that each line repeats, and you can come in the second time until you get it, okay?
I am Om, 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 I am Om. Omnipresent, I am Om.
Omnipresent, I am Om.
All-pervading, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. Om, Om, come to me.
Om to me,
Oh, come to me.
Om, Om, come to me.
Come to me, oh, come to me. I am Om, 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 I am Om.
Cause I am Om. Omnipresent,
I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. Om, Om, come to me.
come to me, oh come to me.
Om, Om, come to me.
Come to me, oh come to me.
I am Om.
I am Om. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om.
Omnipresent, I am Om. Omnipresent, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. All-blessed, I am Om. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Divine Mother, come to me.
Come to me, oh come to me.
Divine Mother, come to me.
Come to me, oh come to me. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om. I am Om.
Just breathe that in. I am Om. Welcome, welcome Om, right? Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And I love Pramanansa's work, and it's interesting because we see God as in the third person, but Hindus see it, their fundamental belief is oneness, but they do this second person. But it's like inviting spirit in, the spirit that's always there. And we need to invite it into me, into ourselves. So beautiful. Thank you, Narayan Janet. Thank you very much. Beautiful. We'd like to begin our service with our vision and mission statement. If you'll look up on screen with me and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A beautiful affirmation on this cool September morning. October, what month is it? November morning. I just have a curiosity. How many people got up an hour earlier this morning than they needed to? Their body clocks just woke them up. And how many people had the gift of an hour extra sleep? Okay, good. Either way, it was fun to have that extra time, either to sleep or to be awake and to be alert. Personally, I have a cat who didn't know anything about time change and is very persistent. Does this little thing like a little paw, a little soft, just a soft paw, but just a soft paw, and then I can ignore her and then go back to sleep. But then guess what? So that's okay. She's sweet most of the time. Before we begin the regular part of our service, I do want to offer some announcements to tell you about. And always know that calendar events is on our website or the emails I send out, because we always have things planned out through several months out. So we try and keep you informed, but we don't give you too much out, but always let you know what else is going on. So first of all, November is Native American Heritage Month. Absolutely, and I think it's important to celebrate that. I've talked about the history of the ground that we stand on as being one in the last 100 years of being a place of faith, but in truth, it's been a place of faith for 10,000 years. Because the Wapo Indians that lived here on the confluence of the Napa Creek and the Napa River, they had a thriving civilization here, 35 to 40,000 people. They lived in log homes, not log homes, but pole homes is what I'm trying to say. They were supported by poles, by timbers. They lived off the acorns and the salmon in the river, wildlife, and they just had a grateful life. And what inspires me, I think it's appropriate that November be Native American Heritage Month, because they lived their life out of gratitude for that which they received, that which they gave, that which they lived, and it's a month of gratitude. So what better way, and especially I want to make sure that we're grateful for this sacred land that we stand on now, that has been consecrated by those that lived here before us, and we consider them our ancestors. And just the blessings that we receive because of this. So thank you for honoring this and honoring all people in this way. And this is an illustration of one of their homes. I forgot I had this slide of the log home. It's a pole home, so that they lived there. And then also I want to let you know that this coming Saturday is coming up quickly. I know we just had an event last week with the sound healing, but this coming Saturday, Melissa and Z have been traveling around the country doing this workshop and singing and playing different places and speaking. They did this, they just finished this workshop today in Eugene, Oregon. So the same workshop called the Enneagram Experience, and they want us to do a video here of...
Hello, my name is Melissa Felipe.
And my name is Z Egloff, and we want to talk to you about our workshop, the Enneagram Experience.
If you don't already know what the Enneagram is, it is a personality system. My experience of learning about it has been that I have discovered and learned about aspects of my own personality and self that I had no idea existed. That's been very helpful.
Yeah, and in that process, it can be a way to really increase self-compassion and compassion for others.
Yes, absolutely. And it can help as it has me anyway, in learning how to communicate with other people, other types of people.
Another thing about the Enneagram is we're often, because of those blind spots, we are doing things that are perpetuating our personality. We might be drawn to spiritual practices, for example, that are perpetuating our personality blind spots as opposed to helping liberate us from them. And so the Enneagram is a wonderful way to learn about practices that can actually help us grow.
Yes.
We've developed a unique way to teach the Enneagram, including starting with using an animal archetype.
I am a monkey.
And I'm an owl, but more on that later.
Yeah.
Whether you're brand new to the Enneagram, you know nothing about the Enneagram, that's great. Or even if you know a fair amount already, you will still get something out of this workshop. It's really fun. We're really excited. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So come and be with us. Bye.
They're adorable. So they have that same joy when they lead workshops. They're master facilitators of workshops. In fact, I have them as dean of the ministerial program here. I have them teach the class on workshops because they're so good at it. And so I think you'll really enjoy it. So registration is online or after service. If you want to talk to Mary about registering, we'll get you there. But Saturday, there's going to be a lunch break. So it starts at 10 a.m., but I think it'll be a fun day. I hope all of you can join us for that day. And then come December, I want you to be thinking ahead because December's not far away. Evidently, I didn't know it was November today, but still, I know December's after this. But we have this incredible teacher. He was here about 5 years ago. His name's Timber Hawkeye. Really unique individual, Buddhist teacher, author. He has a blog. A podcast. He has that's really interesting. But he's coming here and he'll speak during the service as well as after the service. And he's a very casual way of presenting things and presenting spirituality. So I hope you're able to join us. He just published his third book, The Opposite of Namaste, which I'm kind of curious what exactly that means. I haven't read the book yet. So, but the Buddhist Boot Camp and the one that he came here last time calling Faithfully Religionless, So it's, like I said, kind of a unique perspective. So December 4th on Sunday. You don't need to sign up ahead of time. You just show up for that one. No cost, just show up. And then we're still seeking volunteers. We don't have quite enough youth volunteers yet to start our youth program, but we will shortly. Excited about that and looking for volunteers in all levels of things here at the center. So if you're able to do that, please do so. And then you'll notice something missing from this corner over here, which was the balloon and the basket that we had here. I really enjoyed taking all the notes that were here and looking them over. And so this is the part of the project that was just describing us. And you can see there's a lot of things in there about love, about spirituality, about diversity, possibilities, people, teachings. And it was just really full of a lot of great descriptions of us: unity, practical spirituality, helping others together, outreach, promoting, and just being connected, as well as there were some practical ideas as well. And I don't have time to read all of those practical ideas, but it was about making sure that this is a beautiful space in as well as outside, supporting our youth, having a financial foundation, events. A lot of people are talking about events that include the larger Napa Valley community, bringing more people in, inviting people in, having volunteers that support the center, committed and trained crew of garden volunteers. And then there were some very specific ideas about Courtyard and stuff, and I'll pass those on to the Courtyard committee. But I want you to know that we're doing this every step of the way we'll bring in the community to see what you think about the ideas. We won't do anything, any major changes. And the truth is, the most important thing, and somebody said this, and I've heard it said several times over the last few months, the most important thing is not the four walls or even the courtyard around there. It's the community itself. It's the people in it. And that the fellowship we have in here and the fellowship we have outside, drinking coffee and talking to each other, is the most important part of this center. And we want to do things to make sure this is sustainable. And this is the most important thing, that what we do is us. We're in the business of the community, and that above all is everything that we do. Well, also I wanted to give you an update. We're finished with the official pledge drive, just like PBS or somebody like that, for the cards of intention. So I want to give you an update on that. I forgot. This is so part of the notes were also, people drew little notes. One was this cute little heart, and Casper, I don't know if you know Casper, that's Astra's or Cricket's son. He drew a picture of a hot air balloon. So I appreciated the art there, the compassionate heart there, and then Casper's hot air balloon that he drew for us. So we'll continue to accept cards of intention. If you had planned to do one but haven't turned one in, please feel free to do that. And we also know that some people chose not to do a card of intention, and you're continuing to support the center in other ways, in contributions beyond that, and we so appreciate your contributions in every way that support our center. But we went up to 91,400. That's wonderful. Let's give you a round of applause for that. So we're still seeking more funding, and some of that gap is done by the people who donate, who didn't fill out a card of intention. So we appreciate that as well. Also today, we have conversations and coffee every Sunday, but the first Sunday of the month we try and do an intentional conversation. Today is such a day that I thought it might be raining today, so I went ahead and we're going to set it up here in the sanctuary. And that also gives us a chance for those online, if you want to join us for these conversations, these intentional conversations. There's a Zoom link that I sent on email. Also, shortly you'll receive if you haven't already, a second text. We send one text out, but a second text that gives you the link for that Zoom so that you can be here with us and participate. And today we'll talk about my topic today, but more related to your journey towards Om, or home, that is. So I appreciate being a part of that. Okay. And know that we're here, prayers with you. As requested by you, the practitioners will be here after the service to do brief affirmative prayers with you, as well as you can fill out prayer requests in the lobby or online, and we'll pray for you for the next month. We appreciate your request, because our practice of prayer is a spiritual practice for us, and it brings us closer to Spirit as well. So thank you. And now we'll begin with the regular part of our service.
So if you'd like to close your eyes or soften your gaze, just take a moment to settle in. Whatever might be on your mind or heavy on your heart, worries, concerns, just take a breath and let that fade away. On this beautiful autumn morning with this incredible blue sky and a shock of scarlet and yellow leaves, we just give thanks, knowing that we're blessed by this infinite source, what we might call God, Goddess, all that there is. And just imagine that this infinite loving source is breathing you and beating your heart and is entraining us all as one here in the sanctuary. One heart, one community, one immense love. So we just give thanks for this day. We give thanks for our time together. We give thanks for the music and the words that are spoken, knowing we are graced and blessed with this life. So just contemplating that, let's take a moment of meditation. So just drinking in these blessings, knowing it is good and the truth, we let this be, and so it is. Good morning. It's so nice to see so many people here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. And so I have a spiritual reflection for you on this beautiful day. The theme this month is El Corazon, the Spanish word for heart. And the Spanish word uses the masculine pronoun el, but for myself, I think of the heart as the province of the divine feminine, along with the womb with its infinite capacity for love and creation. This has been part of my lifelong journey to reconcile the divine feminine within myself, in my view of the world, and in my own intimate spirituality, which began when I started reading feminist literature at the age of 14, when I attempted to understand my own trauma with my biological mother and left behind patriarchal religion in the Episcopal Church to find my own way. The heart is a magnificent and mysterious life-giving organ. It has its own sacred energy and sacred geometry. The heart has its own sensory motor neurons like a brain and has the capacity to think, feel, sense, and remember. According to the Heart Math Institute, 90% of intelligence comes from the heart, and the heart sends more signals to the brain via the vagus nerve than the brain sends to the heart. And in the 1990s, Heart Math's research showed that when a mother held and nurtured her baby in her arms, her electromagnetic field of her heart entrained the baby's heart, and then sent brain messages to the baby's brain to create coherent and harmonious brain waves, which is part of having normal and healthy brain function. And this happens with both the mother and the baby. It's a reciprocal process. We know that love and the capacity for empathy, nurturing, and care by a mother to an infant stimulates neuron growth and healthy brain development. The feminine is inherently gifted and biologically wired for this dance of reciprocity of love. Although our great mother, the divine feminine, has been historically desecrated, defiled, discredited, stripped of her power, sensuality, and sexuality, and blamed for every sin and malady of mankind, including getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden, the divine feminine heart, this infinite love, is the true catalyst for evolution and is the source of socialization and civilization. So I was recently gifted this beautiful book by Buffy Johnson. She's an artist, and she spent years studying the goddess, and this is something she said in her book. Sacred feminine mother, All things come from her and return to her. The totality of the cosmos is her body that gives birth to everything from her womb, nourishes from her breasts, and loves from her hearts. Each separate being is a manifestation of her. All things share in her life through an infinite cycle of birth and rebirth. And in reality, the feminine desire to create, women and their capacity for care and love are the instigators and creators of the first tools, the development of language, the gathering of food, gardening, and agriculture, the knowledge of herbs, and the first practitioners of medicine, shamanism, and magic, the creation of shelters, weaving, pottery, art, and painting, basically our civilization. So I recently returned from the big island, Hawaii, where I feel this immense feminine energy and love acutely and in every cell of my body. When I'm walking through the emerald green of the ancient fish ponds and the beach where the vibration of the colors of the sky and the ocean, cobalt, turquoise, green, and light blue, enter my body, and in the star-pebbled night when the warm temperature dissolves the boundary between the air and my skin, as the wind, the sound of the waves, and water lapping at my feet murmur love and fill my heart and body with the immensity of this truth. Now I'm home, and I feel my own and shared fears, anxiety, and worry of people on the street and when I'm in the grocery store who seem distracted and preoccupied with thoughts of collective divisiveness, threats to democracy, and potential violent elections. We lose our way. We desperately need the love of the divine feminine now. We must remember it has never been lost but must be recovered. To return to its embrace and to remember we are all interconnected and interdependent in this immense love. The great divine mother delights in and loves all her creation, equitably, equally, and unconditionally. The beautiful autumn leaves that fall silently to the earth, the bleached and devastated coral, the homeless addict, the corporate executive approving plans to ruin the environment for profit, the conspiracy-driven Republican and irate Democrat, the Ukrainian and Russian soldiers. When we say love is the answer, love heals all, love is what we came here for, we must resist the temptation to further denigrate the divine feminine by saying this is too simplistic, naive, or saccharine. We must have the courage to enter back into the great heart of the divine feminine with all of her love, power, and ferocity, to become whole and coherent again, to love ourselves fully and love the objectified and despised other, to give thanks and reciprocity for the gift she gave us, this shared, blessed, and messy life. Our life and planet depend on it.
Love is all you need. 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 Love is all you need.
Okay. This is a song we wrote called A Sacred Place. Isn't that great?
through skies of love. Sound waves seen coursing through veins of love. I will meet you here each day. Watch illusion melt away, while the truth will guide the way. For this I pray, pray. 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 For this I a sacred place.
Wow. Feels like such a, I don't know, such a sacred service so far. It's nice to be here. Nice to have this experience today and be present with all that is. So today I am talking about this idea about our sanctuary, our home, the new theme we have this month. And Laura, you did a great job of introducing the topic and the idea of the divine feminine and how that interweaves and into our search for our home that perhaps was, even if we had a great home growing up, and many of us didn't, but even if we had this great home, as adults, we seek a new home, our true place, our place. And your story just it was so good about how you found that true home for you, that home within you. So thank you for being present in that, doing that. And we've talked about a wheel this year, and with each turning of the wheel, it's a different month. So we're on to our home, our sanctuary, El Corazon. And we're talking about here, in particular, about a home that is not necessarily where you live, but where your heart is. And your home can be that which you find, that which you identify. As I mentioned, many of our homes are not places that were always felt homey growing up, or safe, or secure, or consistent source of love. And so as we become adults, we create these environments. We know the truth within who we are, and we find this home. And there's no place like home, that we know the greatest tool we have are spiritual tools to find this true home for us in this home. Another part of this is that Joseph Campbell made popular something called the hero's journey, or the heroine journey, if you want to term it as that. But it's a powerful way to look at this search for home that we're talking about. This true self that we are, our authentic self. So no matter what kind of home we had growing up, there's a departure from that home because we need to leave from where we are to find something greater, to find our true self. And yet the problem with that, the challenge of that is that we're going into the unknown world. We have to leave what we know, the comfortable, to the unknown. And there's a period of initiation, of trials and tribulations, but also we gain wisdom, we learn from that. And so that we're able to come back or return, not to the same place, but a return to a home, the home that we know to be our true home. We also know that in this diagram, I think is really good because when we return, it's to a new place. Our home is different. We are different. The world is different because we've allowed ourselves to be transformed. Those people that seek something new but aren't willing to be transformed, aren't willing to let go and surrender and allow this spiritual understanding to come through this, a spiritual wisdom, that sometimes they don't make that change. They return home but are the same, even though usually their home has changed. And this journey can be what we do on a daily basis. It could be a project we're working on at work or at home, or it could have a long arc in our life, the search for authenticity. And truth is, you'll find times that you have completed this hero's journey, be it a day, be it a project, or something you're seeking in your life, but there's always more journeys to have. This journey is played out in our own lives, but also it's a monomyth, as it's called. In most all movies, books, sacred text, spiritual pathways, these people are played out. So you think of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. I mean, her home is literally turned upside down. So she didn't choose to leave, but she had to leave. And the whole Wizard of Oz where was she trying to go? Back home. We're all trying to go back home. Ram Dass says we're simply walking each other home. And then you think of, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, Frodo Baggins. You know, he chose to leave, but he knew that if he didn't leave, that his home was going to change anyway. There was going to be dramatic changes in his world, and he went on his journey, on his adventure, so that his home would continue to be a sanctuary for him. And if he hadn't gone on that journey, if he wasn't successful in what he did, then it wouldn't have been the same home. Things change. I always say that I know you've heard that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of sanity. But I also think it's insanity to do the same thing over and over again and expect it to always be the same, because things always change. It's the nature of life. So we might hold on to the comfort we have in our lives, but it won't. It'll slip through our hands like water. That we need to be aware and open to the ideas and changes of things that can happen in our lives as they move forward in this way. There's also, this archetype is played out in spiritual teachers. So you have Moses who took, according to the story, and we don't know the accuracy because there's no historical references, but I think some of the stories of the Bible have continued or other sacred texts, because they they correspond, they resonate with us. So the story of Moses taking his people out of slavery and trying to go to the promised land, the land of milk and honey, right? And they journey together in that way. The story of Mohammed, who started Islam, he had many trials and tribulations of trying to create it, and he was seeking to go back home. And now that pilgrimage to Mecca is a regular part of the Muslim religion because it was such an important thing, a pilgrimage to go back to a spiritual home. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her journey. First of all, in the Bible, there's inconsistencies about why she journeyed to Bethlehem and the date. So what's good about our faith is we don't have to come to conclusions about the factual nature of the Bible. To me, it's a classic myth, though. Supposedly, she was called because of a census. But if you wouldn't, to go back home because of a census, but a census would not be done in your hometown. It'd be where you work. So it doesn't make any sense. But when you think about she was called home to birth something that was inside of her, that makes perfect sense. That we're all called home. We're all called to something greater, and we're pregnant with spirit to birth something in this new home, this new way of being, that we're all seeking to do this. We're called back home. Now, what I know about the home, the whole thing is that we gain along the route, along our journey of life, wisdom and understanding, and it's necessary for us to be willing to see this with spiritual eyes. Last week, I started talking about Sean Ginwright, and I'm just loving this book, reading this book called Four Pivots, Reimagining Justice, Reimagine Ourselves. First of all, it's just good for me to read the perspective of a black man because it's a different perspective. And so it's healthy for me to see a broader view of things. But he's also got some fascinating ideas that I'm really going with. So, like I said, there's 4 pivots that he talks about. One is of awareness, connection, vision, and presence. Last week we talked about presence, from hustle to flow. And that was a really good conversation about our addiction to doingness instead of allowing Spirit to come through us. And then this week, I'm going to talk about the lens to mirror, the awareness thing. So in our journey of life, the lens is seeing things of a perspective that is forward focused. We talked about last week about the eagle and the condor. The lens is a condor. It's visionary, but it doesn't take in a bigger perspective of things. It's very focused forward. It can also be separating. It's looking outside of ourselves. And when we see ourselves as separate from others, then we're not connected in that way. We're not aware of that. The classic story of someone who is using their lens was Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was told to go find new lands, and because of what the church called, and was a decree from the church called the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery basically said that any new land you find that is not inhabited is the country that you're representing. It's yours to take. So when Christopher Columbus, but also going back, what the church then described as inhabited meant Christian people. It didn't include the native people that already lived there. I tell you what, when Christopher Columbus landed in the West Indies, there were people who lived there. It was inhabited. So the doctor's discovery should not have been applied to that area, but it was. And the native people that lived there were operating from the mirror, which was, with the mirror is a self-reflective, where, you know, if you look at a mirror, it always tells the truth. And we look at mirrors all the time to just make sure, you know, our hair's in place, or you know, there's nothing on, you know, to make sure we're looking okay going out into the world. But it's also a metaphor for self-reflection within ourselves, mindfulness, awareness, connectedness. So it's not separate. It's not seeing something outside of ourselves. It's looking back within ourselves. So the native people in the West Indies, according to the myth, they didn't even see the ships because that didn't make sense to them. But they were looking inward. They were connected with all of life, like all the tribes I know of in North America and South America, Central America, were all ones that were about connected to the earth. What I hear about the natives here, the Wapo tribe, very connected to the earth, to the river and the land that they lived on. But here's Christopher Columbus. He just sees gold or the fountain of youth, or to explore it. And that started the 500 years of the way of the eagle. That was one of domination, one of taking over, imperialism. And now we have the opportunity to bring in this divine feminine, the condor. And it's not that we want to get rid of the eagle, because there's value in this vision. You know, our lens gives us perspective from ways away. We are trained in schools from very young to do lens work, to be aware, to discern, to analyze. So there's value in that. But now we want to move forward with this lens to mirror, be willing to do our mirror work and open up. Krishna Das, a spiritual teacher that you might be familiar with, said that the heart is like a mirror. When we dust it off, we're able to see ourselves. The dust is all our stuff, guilt, anger. This stuff is reflected back to us. Practice removes the dust from the mirror of our hearts. Practice removes the dust from the mirror of our hearts, so that when this mindfulness, we can let go of things that no longer serve us and claim this to greater ways, to greater truth. So when we talk about this idea of the hero's journey, the heroine journey, there are really three parts to it. Simple. There's a departure, there's an initiation, and there's a return. So if you think about this idea of the departure, we're leaving home. And for Dorothy, her world was turned upside down. She had to leave home, and she was seeking to do it. As I mentioned, Frodo left on his adventure. Mary, pregnant with this idea of searching home. And Buddha, if you want to think about him, he left a life of privilege to seek to end suffering. And Mohammed and Moses, they're all doing this aware. And what's fascinating about all of this is this perspective, this lens we have, that if we see this lens, we see ourselves separate on this journey, when in fact, when we move into the initiation, there are trials and tribulations, but we know that we are learning from it and we gain growth and transformation. Frodo says it's a dangerous business going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to. So you don't know. This is, as we begin our initiation, this is the world of the unknown, the trials and tribulations. Moses, when he took the Jewish people out of slavery, they were hungry and they were lost, and they didn't know if they wanted to go to this land, because people had said this land where they were promised, there were giants there, and they were scared of the giants. So some of them said, "Oh, we were better off when we were in slavery." Really? But you know what? You can't go back home even if you wanted to. It took them a whole generation of people to get the courage to go into the promised land, which is now what we know as Israel. For Mohammed, he struggled until he was able to go back home. Buddha had sat underneath his tree, to gain enlightenment, but he went among the poor people to learn suffering first before he found the Four Noble Truths. And so, of course, we know Dorothy and her trip down the yellow brick road that, and fighting off flying monkeys and wicked witches and all sorts of trials and tribulations. But she had to come to that power. She had to know her truth. And for all of us, we find this greater truth and we're able to return home. I love the story of the Wizard of Oz. It's just such a wonderful story of this way. When she comes back home, she tries to tell the story and they laugh it off. And she just goes, oh, well. But the movie ends with Dorothy exclaiming, but anyway, Toto, we're home. We're home. This is my room and you're all here. And I'm not going to leave here ever again because I love you. So she had, whether it was a real experience or not, we don't know. There's a one idea was real and another idea was made up in her mind, but it was a mystical experience for her, and for her it's true. And she gained courage and understanding. She was told that she could have gone home all the time, but if she wasn't willing to find that courage and that passion and that power that she found in her journey, then it wouldn't have been the same. She came back home a new person, a new way. And so did Frodo, so did Moses, and Mary, who was probably already teaching the wisdom teachings, but unable to really do it in larger crowds because she was a woman, birthed this wisdom. And that's what really the story is about birthing this wisdom teaching that she knew already, and now here's a way for it to be birthed into the world, into the truth she is. So we were all seeking to come back home in this way, to return home, to come home to our greater truth, our authenticity, the truth of who we are in every moment, whether it's a daily thing to go back home or the longer arc we have in life, that is. We return home, and we know that I hope you consider this a spiritual home. Not that this is your final destination, but one of the places when you are being challenged, when you're going through trials and tribulations, or when you're celebrating victories, that is a place to come and part of our community to learn tools to help you along this journey of life through your trials and tribulations. So welcome home for all. Let us go to prayer. What I know in this moment, there is only one. And when we're able to see this mirror, I know the truth that we are is life itself, is spirit. So I know that we are all spirit in this moment, and that spirit guides us through our trials and our tribulations, that allows us to open up to a greater life, a greater truth. And I know we are able to do that we are able to find our way home again. And I know this to be so, and so it is.
breathe the earth, the sun, the skies, and in the night your starry eyes. In our breath, creation sighs.
The breath that draws my gaze within and gently flows outside again. The breath of love that we live in.
Love breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me. And when the world's too much for me, all my fears feel unreleased. I feel peace in air I breathe.
The temple bells, the oceans roar, our spirits with each other soar. The God of love comes back for more.
Ooh, yeah. I am divine, I know it. I am pure love, I know it. 'Cause God breathes love into me.
We are of love's creation. Our breath is love's elation. Love is all that we can be.
Love breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me. Love breathes to me.
Oh, love breathes to me.
Love breathes to me.
Breathes to everyone. Breathes to me. Breathes to me.
Love breathes to me.
Love breathes to me.
Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to me. Love breathes to everyone and breathes to me.
Thank you, God.
How beautiful. And every time that Narayan and Janet are here, I just want to hear more. So in February, we're going to have a concert. So, date to be announced, but we thought they have so many songs about love. I think February is a great month for that. So we're going to find the right date for that. So now's the time we invite you to participate in the circulation of abundance. If I could have the ushers come forth. What I know is that what you give comes back to you tenfold, because it's an opening of heart, it's an opening for spirit, it's an opening for truth. And we appreciate your support of our vision that we have here to make a world that works for everyone. So if you could hold that which you are giving today, whether it be a contribution in your mind of it you've already given us or one you're giving today, or it's a contribution of love that you're giving us today. If you could hold it over your heart and repeat this affirmation with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
just wanna thank you
For all you bring to me, I just wanna thank you.
Your love has set me free.
Beautiful. So we know that which you've given today blesses you, blesses us, and blesses all. Thank you. Thank you. It's also first Sunday of the month, so we like to honor, first of all, anybody who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a special gift for you. Anybody here for the first time? We've got one over here for the first time. Welcome to our sanctuary, all the way over by Wendy over there. Anybody else here for the first time? Anybody online for the first time? We always appreciate you joining us as well. Thank you for being here with us. And then also with the first of the month, we like to honor birthdays and anniversaries. So, where'd Mary go? So, whose birthday is in November? There's Phil, Erica. Where'd Mary go? Go get Mary. Go get Mary. Yeah, tell her to come inside. Mary, yeah. November 1st, right. And how about anniversaries? Anybody's anniversary in November? We have one anniversary. How many years, Jean? 52. Nice. Any other anniversaries? That's great. So we just have a blessing here for all our birthdays and our anniversaries and those who are here for the first time as well. So we raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. Well, we miss Mary, but wish her a happy birthday. Her birthday. There she is. Happy birthday. Please know that we're here for you in prayer and that you're welcome to stay. Go out and get some coffee and come back in for the conscious conversation we'll have about your journey to home, so to speak. And I think we'll celebrate that and be able to have people online be a part of that as well. So let's all stand for the congregational affirmation and closing song. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I'm led by Spirit.
I am guided by wisdom.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I'm protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
And so it is.
So it is.
Trouble, no one's right.
let's all go home together, okay? All right. Many blessings. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you.